Hello everybody, welcome back. And if you're new, my name is Chris. It is the beginning of December, and that means pickups and passes. In other words, fragrances I have recently purchased and fragrances I am willing to let go to a new home. This video is a little special in that I was gifted a couple of bottles by some very generous and lovely companies, and I am ready to pass that on to you for the holidays. So if you are ready to see what I've picked up, what I'm ready to let go of, and the fragrances I am ready to pass on to my lovely subscribers, well, please keep watching. This first bottle has been on my wish list for a long time, and this house in general is a house that really works for me. But I have to kind of pace myself with this house because the fragrances aren't exactly inexpensive. So I've been waiting a long time for this next fragrance, and I am super excited that I finally have it in my hot little hands, and it is Oud For Greatness by Initio Parfums. It is quite spectacular. If you have not smelled this, it is for people who love kind of smoky, woody fragrances and spicy fragrances. This is gorgeous. I remember it was love at first sniff when I first smelled this a long time ago. Oh my gosh, it's so good. It's like when I smell this, it is so good. But you have to love saffron. You have to really enjoy the note of saffron, and you have to kind of enjoy smoky wood, in my opinion, because this is saffron and a smoky oud. There is nothing animalic about this. This oud is a gorgeous smoky wood. This is exactly how I like my woody fragrances to be: deep, rich, dark, and smoky. I absolutely love this. This is very strong. This is a total powerhouse fragrance. You know, 3 or 4 sprays has lasted me all day. Sillage is great, projection is great, longevity is great. It is certainly not a love for everyone. It is very expensive, and I got this at a good deal, so I was really happy about that. But for those people who love these smoky, woody, spicy, saffrony fragrances, this is gorgeous, and I love it. The next fragrance I'm really excited about is from a super fun house that I discovered last year called Outlaw, or it's called Outlaw Soaps. And I'm always looking for kind of the new house that's a hidden gem that not a lot of people know about. I love discovering fragrances and either having them for myself or giving them away to people so they have something really unique. And I got a couple of fragrances from this house last year, and they had several that were nice. But my favorite one was actually only came in a solid perfume. It was like came in a little disc, and I so wanted it to be in a perfume spray. And so when I checked back this year, I was super excited that they got this fragrance in the cologne spray, or in the fragrance spray. Now, it is a cologne concentration, but in my opinion, it does behave more like a eau de toilette. And this is a fragrance that has these gorgeous notes that I love this time of the year. And it is called Calamity Jane. How cute. I know the lights are so bright in here, but I don't know if you can see that little label. Super cute. But this has clove, orange, cinnamon, and whiskey. And this is basically that cinnamon, orange, clove fragrance. I love that combination of scents. I just love that. It makes me think of wassail or mulled wine. And it does have a little bit of a boozy kick to it, but I have something else, so I'm just gonna spray this. It smells so good. Oh my gosh, I love it, love it, love it. Yeah, you get that kick of the whiskey right away, but then it kind of settles into this, oh my gosh, delicious orange, cinnamon, clove fragrance. And unfortunately, I discovered that they have the lotion. Now I'm gonna have to go buy the lotion because you know me, I love to layer my fragrances, but this is so fun. And I'm gonna be wearing this a lot during the holidays because this just screams holidays. The next one is from Carolina Herrera. This is from the more exclusive line, and I have found several that are just gorgeous. And I found this one at a pretty good deal. So I went ahead and jumped at it, and I'm glad I did. And this is Gold Incense by Herrera. This is gorgeous. This is a sweet, woody, very smooth, spicy, ambery, incensey fragrance. Oh my gosh. I think that several fragrances in this line have a very similar DNA, and you will find that when you go from house to house, there is a recognizable base to all these fragrances in this exclusive line. But this one has cinnamon, this has labdanum in it, this has incense, cedar, vanilla, and sandalwood. It is absolutely gorgeous. To me, it smells like there is a sweet, pleasant oud in the background. I do not believe that oud is listed in the notes, but it just has that scent profile to me. And the performance on these Carolina Herreras, they're just out of this world. It's like 1 to 3 sprays, you're set for the day. Gorgeous, and I'm glad that I added this one to my collection. Okay, this next one, I kind of was on the fence whether I wanted to buy it or not. It is a flanker of the L'Interdit, and I already have the L'Interdit Intense, the EDP Intense, which I absolutely love. And this year, I'm trying to get away from buying fragrances that have a lot of similarities. I used to do that in the beginning. Oh, I like it. Even though it's similar to something that I have, I want to get it anyway. This year, I don't want to do that. I want to do less of that. I'm running out of room and space, and it's just not practical. So I thought, I really don't need this new flanker from L'Interdit, the Rouge one, L'Interdit Rouge, and I sampled it. I have one of my really sweet friends, Sammy, sent me the sample, and I of course wore it and I really loved it, but I just wasn't sure if I wanted to buy it because I still loved the Intense. I absolutely love the Intense version, and I found this, I got this at a really good deal for Black Friday, and so I went ahead and purchased it. So it's not new to me. I have sampled it extensively, but I am glad that I do have it. It is a gorgeous, the L'Interdit Intense and the Rouge, they just have this gorgeous heart to them that I love. This one is different, but in my opinion, there are definite similarities. The main differences on this one are kind of the opening and then the dry down. The opening is for sure very zesty and juicy. I would call it juicy because it has a very recognizable citrusy, like a strong citrusy opening. I think that there is like blood orange and ginger. I don't know if I get the ginger just individually. I definitely get a citrusy, kind of a zesty, juicy opening that is not in the L'Interdit Intense. That is not part of that fragrance. The florals, to me, the heart of the florals are the same. You know, we've got orange blossom and tuberose, probably jasmine, but orange blossom and tuberose are the main characters. There is something that I would describe as leafy in this fragrance. I think there's pimento leaf in this. I don't know what a pimento leaf smells like. It's kind of leafy. It's going in the direction of maybe a bay leaf, but it doesn't quite get there. And I have to really kind of dig my nose into my arm to smell that leafy part of it, but then that goes away. And the dry down is beautiful. It is just a lovely, lovely fragrance. This dry down is not as sweet to me as the Intense. That one dries down sweeter to me, but this one still dries down a little bit sweet. I'm pretty sure that there is tonka or vanilla in this because it does dry down kind of sweet, but you can still smell those gorgeous florals. And I'm actually really surprised how long that kind of, that juiciness, the citrusy, orangey, gingery opening kind of lasts in this. This is quite gorgeous. I do love it. I do not love it more than the Intense. I'm going to have to do a little side-by-side comparison. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to, in my opinion, beat the Intense, the EDP Intense. I love that one. I'm going to be doing some side-by-sides, but thank you to a nice Black Friday sale, I now am the owner of the L'Interdit Rouge. Okay, so about 2 months ago, I did a house overview on Esse Strikes the Notes, and I thought Going into the house overview, I had a bottle in mind that I thought I was going to be purchasing, and it turns out the bottle that I ended up purchasing was completely different and a fragrance I had never heard of. But it kind of was the most unique in that I don't have anything like this in my fragrance collection, and so I was super happy to get the bottle, and it is called Priscilla, again by Esse Strikes the Notes. I will link that video up above over here. But the founder of this fragrance house wanted to create fragrances mimicking the different personalities of his granddaughter, Esse. And so he came up with all these different fragrances with different characteristics and different personalities. And the one that I again chose was Priscilla. Now this one is characterized as a chypre fruity floral. Yeah, I would call it a chypre fruity floral. It is pineapple, red berries, spicy, floral. That's how I would describe it. Now I just did a video about a pineapple fragrance that was Lamar, and the pineapple in here is very different. The pineapple in Lamar is kind of like a thicker, richer, ripe, grilled pineapple. This is a fresh pineapple, fresh red berries. The berries in here are tart, or there's grapefruit, which adds to the tartness. So you've got this fresh, fruity fragrance that has some tartness in it. It's very clean, it's very crisp. I absolutely, in the dry down, get some rose in here. I think there are other florals, but the floral that I smell is a gorgeous, clean, green rose. And it just maintains this really nice, fresh, tart profile through the life of this fragrance, and it dries down like a nice clean musk. So it's a really nice, fresh, clean, tart, fruity fragrance with a little touch of rose, and it dries down into a nice clean musk. I really, really enjoyed. I think the color of the bottle matches the fragrance kind of perfectly. So excited to add this one to my collection. So I've spoken a lot about Coffee Addict by Theodoros Kalotinis, and I think I have 7 or 8 of his fragrances now. And last month I was able to add his gold collection to my collection, and oh my goodness, stunning. This whole video could be on Theodoros Kalotinis, but I'm going to stick with the 2 that I wore most last month. The first one is Santal Wood. I have posted this on my Instagram. Again, the lights in here are so bright, but it's just a gorgeous bottle. I was completely shocked how utterly stunning and universally appealing this fragrance is. This just bowled me over. This fragrance has all the things that I love in a fragrance, and it's not just a simple sandalwood. I thought it was just going to be like a run-of-the-mill sandalwood fragrance. This is sandalwood and so much more. This is gorgeous. This is patchouli. This is sandalwood. This is labdanum that I really get, rum and oud. This has a gorgeous labdanum note, which is kind of this sweet, a little bit spicy leather accord. This has sandalwood in it, but the other notes just bring it up a notch. It's very boozy. It's rich. It's dark. It's warm. It's thick. It's sweet and boozy. Now, I wore this to work and I was utterly shocked. Now, because where I work, we still have to wear things over our face, so I can get away with a lot more knowing that. I was utterly shocked how people that I've been working with for years, who normally don't comment on what I wore, went gaga over this one. I have a coworker, I've been working with her for 10, 12 years. She almost never comments. We're very good friends. We're very honest. We're very good friends. She almost never comments on what I wear. She likes like one thing. She likes Bath and Body Works, Rose Water, and Ivy. And I'm always trying to get her to expand her horizons. And it's just, no, she's not interested. I wore this, no joke. She said, "What are you wearing?" I love that. I've never heard those words uttered from her mouth as long as I've known her. And then it wasn't 10 minutes later, 2 other people came into my office and said the same thing. This is gorgeous. This is another one that Picky Pat loves. This is just a stunning fragrance. It is super long lasting, like 3-4 sprays. I can get 8 to 10 hours. It's strong at first and then it kind of tapers off at the 10-hour mark. 8 to 10 hour mark, it's definitely kind of a skin scent. Gorgeous, one of the prettier pickups I've had this year. Another total stunner from the gold collection is called Tobacco Maniac. I just love these bottles too. I love the aesthetic. This is gorgeous. This is sweet. This is ambery. This is slightly powdery tobacco. There is a honey in here that is just done to perfection. The honey is sweet enough and it's not overpowering. This is not a honey-centered fragrance. The honey is present and it is there to sweeten up the tobacco perfectly. There is a perfect sweetness from the honey, but the sweetness is a clean kind of a sweet. It's not a cloying or aggressive sweetness. The tobacco in here is very photorealistic, and it is just, for anyone who loves tobacco-based fragrances, I would say that this is a must try. He has amazing fragrances. His customer service is amazing, and shipping from Greece, I have now ordered from him, I think 3 or 4 separate occasions, like lickety split, like from Greece, it gets to my house in like 4 days. Unbelievable. So 2 fabulous stunners from Theodoros Kalotinis' gold collection. So the next 2 fragrances are from a house that I have never heard anyone talk about ever. This is a super cool quality house, and I found them a couple years ago when I was reading a magazine. I was reading an article about this particular house called Boyds of Texas. They ended up winning some awards at the South by Southwest Festival, and it just kind of piqued my interest. And so I ordered several samples from their site, and then maybe 3-4 months ago I started thinking about the house again and how I wanted to revisit it, and it was so unique, and I definitely wanted to try out the fragrance again so I could give the fragrance out, a bottle out, as a gift. I had planned on getting something as a gift, because who doesn't like getting a bottle of something that's unique, that you don't smell like someone coming or going, and it's unique. After smelling the fragrances again, the fragrance that I chose for myself, that I bought for myself, is called Cuero. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Irene, tell me if I'm not. Cuero. And I think it's Spanish for leather, but this is not your typical leather-based fragrance at all. This has the DNA of this brand, and the DNA in here is a citrusy, aromatic, dry, woody DNA that kind of runs throughout all the fragrances. They are marketed as unisex. I will tell you honestly, I enjoy masculine leaning fragrances. I enjoy feminine fragrances. These do tend to lean more masculine in my opinion, kind of just based on their citrusy, aromatic, dry, woody DNA. Again, not a typical leather. This is a fresh or a fresher take on leather, and this fragrance was made in collaboration with a famous leather shop in the Texas Hill Country. I think it's called Stash Leather. They still make, these gorgeous handmade goods. Maybe I'll put like a picture up in the corner. Gorgeous backpacks and leather satchels, one of a kind handmade items. So this was made with a lot of thought and quality behind it. These are also handmade, they are cleanly made, they are recyclable, hypoallergenic, and so forth. So this opens with a kind of a pleasant blast of a nice citrusy note, probably grapefruit. I think grapefruit's fairly heavy in their fragrances. There are some sort of florals in here, I don't know, but it's slightly floral, maybe just kind of some general white flowers. There is some sort of evergreen in here. Maybe it's cypress, but it's slightly green, like a green evergreen going on. And then, kind of hours into the fragrance, you've got the leather, you've got the labdanum, there's smoke, and there is a dry vetiver. Here's the shocking thing. I wore this to work thinking that it wasn't going to be a big hit, because most of the time I work with a bunch of ladies. They don't care for overwhelmingly masculine fragrances. I got 2 people that said, "You smell really good." I said, "Really? What does it smell like?" And they said kind of a fresh floral fragrance. They smelt the florals. There's definitely citruses in here, but the point being it's not a heavy leather bomb. I will say as it dries down, it gets a little bit smoky. It's definitely like a dry fragrance. There's something dry about it, but it's lovely. And again, this is the fragrance I chose for myself. This is the one I bought for myself. The one I will be gifting to my spouse for a Christmas present is, I think it's their bestseller. It's called High Desert. This definitely leans more masculine for sure. I'm not sure if this is their bestseller or Cuero. This one was made in collaboration with a lifestyle brand. It's called Temple of Offering, and they are this lifestyle brand from the Southwest. They tend to partner with other brands that kind of maintain transparent business practices and environmental stability. So that's kind of the ethos behind this. So the point of view of High Desert is the idea that you have stumbled upon a water hole in the summer and you're on this trailhead. It's very dusty, dry, and hot, and you're somewhere in New Mexico. So like I said, this is definitely a citrusy aromatic. I would describe it as a citrusy aromatic. There are the aromatic notes up at the top. There's coriander. Again, there's that red grapefruit. Grapefruit's very big in Texas, so that makes sense. And there's cedar. So those are the top notes. The heart notes are herbs, sage, and Texas cedar. And in the base, you have birch tar, smoked vetiver, and labdanum. Now, the type of labdanum that I'm used to in a lot of my other ambery fragrances is not in here. It's not the same labdanum. And the birch tar, I can smell. It's interesting that it's in the base notes because I can smell it pretty much right up front. And for the first minute, it does get a little like a smoked rubber, but that burns off in about a minute, and then it kind of settles into this nice citrusy, aromatic, woody, grassy, a little bit smoky fragrance. So I think for men who really enjoy that type of a fragrance, like a citrusy aromatic, this is an awesome fragrance. It's very unique. Boyds was very generous that they tossed in a free bottle for you guys. So I have a free bottle of High Desert for my lovely subscribers. This is worldwide. It's not as easy to ship worldwide, but there is a workaround. So if you are a subscriber of mine and you want to give a gift to a loved one or a family member, or you want it for yourself, please let me know in the comments down below. They were also kind enough to send me a bunch of like their discovery set, and since I already had my own, I will be giving these to you. I opened them just to see what they had, and I've smelled everything except one. So they have Cuero, they have Yellow Rose, which is a non-florally rose. They have Green Vetiver. I've never smelled that one. But there's definitely a very similar DNA that kind of runs throughout their fragrances. They also have Texas Lavender, which is a very dry lavender fragrance, and they have High Desert. So first prize is the full bottle of High Desert, and then the runner-up, shall we say, gets the sample set. So the full bottle of this goes for, and actually this is your bottle here, it's not even opened. It's really nice. So this retails for $130, and the samples I think are $10 a piece, so not bad. Yeah, so thank you, Boyds, for throwing that in with my order, and I cannot believe that no one's ever talked about them before because they are a very talented fragrance house that has a lot to offer. So I'm going to end the list with another bottle that I will be passing on to one of my lovely subscribers. 'Tis the season, it's December. And this one is called I Am Blessed, and it is by the house or the fragrance line called I Am. They have a bunch of different fragrances. I think it's I Am Free, I Am Naked, I Am Hot, I Am Radiant, I Am Peace, I Am Good, all sorts of I Ams. But this just showed up at my house, a box. I opened it up, had no idea it was coming to my house. The note said, enjoy. I thought that was really nice. So I am passing it on to you guys. This one is lovely. I think this retails for $72. This is what I would describe as a florally pleasant, soft, musky, powdery floral. This has mandarin, lemon, jasmine, neroli. There is some really kind of soft amber. I think there's something called precious woods, musk, and vanilla. So this is just a really nice, fresh, florally, slightly citrusy, sweet, musky fragrance. And I would love for one of my lovely subscribers. So this is brand new minus a couple sprays from me, if you don't mind. So if you're a subscriber of mine and you are interested in a fragrance like this, either for yourself or gifting it to a family member or loved one, let me know in the comments down below. I do not think it came with a box, so it'll just be the bottle. And to be honest, I'm probably gonna choose somebody who is a regular and who comments a lot, because I really, really appreciate that, and I appreciate your support. So I don't really have a whole lot of passes. I have 3, and none of these are ones that I hate. I'm just at the point where I cannot keep fragrances I don't use. And I think I've had this fragrance for 2 years, and I wore it once. I wore it on July the 4th, and the only reason I wore it is because I needed a fragrance combination with red, white, and blue in it, and this is my blue. And it's actually, I adore the fragrance, but I just never wear it. So I want to send it on to a new home. This is, you know, that blueberry whipped cream thing going on, the flanker of La Petite Robe Noire. Adorable. It's a great, great fragrance. Just, I am making some hard choices and getting rid of fragrances that I enjoy that I just don't wear anymore. So the next one is one that I've had for a couple years. This one was a gift. My spouse picked this up at the German airport. I remember this was December 2019 because it was right before you know what hit the fan and people stopped traveling. And he knew that I had loved the original Euphoria when it first came out. When it first came out, I loved that fragrance. I owned 1 bottle, and I have a coworker, this is her signature scent, or the original Euphoria, and I just loved it on her, so I just never wore it again. And so he saw this in, I want to say it was in the airport, you know, like a duty-free shop, picked it up, and it is called, what is it called? I think this is called Amber, Euphoria Amber Gold. It's a gorgeous bottle, and pretty much anything that has amber in it, I would love. Here's the issue. This is really kind of a honey fragrance in my opinion, and I have a couple honey fragrances that I absolutely love. I have Tobacco Maniac that has a gorgeous honey note in it, and I have Honey Oud that I've talked about ad nauseum in several other videos. So this honey in here is a touch animalic, and it is so sweet. It's almost so sweet where you can't smell honey anymore and you're just smelling the sweetness. Like if you've ever had honey that has gotten old, or you've left the lid off and it just crystallizes and turns into sugar, and it kind of loses that deep honey smell and it just smells like sweet and sugary. That's kind of what I get here. It's not that I don't enjoy it. It's just I have honey-based fragrances that I like so much more, and it is a touch, the honey in here is a touch animalic. There's something, a skosh animalic in here, so I haven't worn it. I just don't wear it, and it's been sitting around gathering dust. So this one, and I think this might be hard to find, I don't know. He got it in Europe. Maybe it's hard to find. Anyways, this will be going to a new home. So Euphoria Amber Gold. And the last one is my very last Narciso cube. Listen, I think you either like the cubes or you like the rectangles. You definitely have a preference. In my overwhelming preference, I love the rectangle. I think Narciso, for her, Eau de Toilette, and to a lesser degree, the Eau de Parfum are gorgeous. I love that fragrance. I know they've won tons of awards. That musk is a musk that just smells so good on me, and I adore them. I have tried every cube now, I believe. There might be 1 or 2 cubes that I haven't smelled, and even though the cubes are nice, they have a very recognizable DNA to them. I just prefer the rectangles, and I think, you know, you either prefer the rectangles before the cube. Never, ever, ever wear it. Sits on, and I will stare, I'll look at it, and I don't want to wear it. I look at it, don't want to wear it. I'll pick something else. So it doesn't make any sense that it sits gathering dust. So I would like for this to go to a new home. And this is Narciso Eau de Toilette. So that's it, a kind of special edition of pickups and passes. I have 2 lovely bottles that were so generously gifted to me that I would love to gift to you guys. So if you are interested, please let me know below which ones you are interested in. And to make it easy on me, I would just prefer if you did one or the other. So in a perfect world, I would love to get these bottles to you by Christmas. Definitely by the end of December, so I'm only gonna let this go for about a week or 5 days. So if you could quickly let me know below, that way I can kind of get everybody's names, pick a winner, and send the bottles out to you guys. So thank you again for sticking around. Thank you for watching. Good luck to you on those lovely bottles, and I will see you on the next one.